And now we are going to look at democratizing data. So data is the topic that we're talking a lot about because data is the vehicle for also accelerating change. And according to our next speaker, and many have said it, data is not the new, but is the gold. And it's a transformative medium that when properly governed, understood, and made available can be an enabler of unprecedented opportunities to benefit businesses, people, the planet, and society. And here to speak more on this topic, I say a warm welcome to Sonia Boije, who is former head of data officer at Ericsson, and Sonia is joining us via link from Australia. So I hand over the word to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sonia Boije. As you introduced me, I'm a data officer. I've worked for a leading telecommunications company. And when it came to working with data, well, they'd been around for quite some time. And they've been working with data for quite some time as well. In fact, when I was heading the data office, some 40% of the world's mobile data was traveling through their networks. So today I want to talk to you about that journey of becoming data-driven for us and share my experiences with you. So getting started, I'm going to take you through the presentation as well. I hope you can all see the slides. Great. So I understand that you might be on a similar journey, and I really do hope that this session will be insightful. We'll have some discussions and you'll be able to ask me some questions at the end. And I can start by saying that although many companies have always worked with data, it is really when they fully coordinate data transformation at a global level, and that really begins with the leadership. And what I mean by that is that the leadership needs to take that strategic decision to set in place a data strategy that will treat and leverage data as a valuable asset. And there are two key components I've found when it comes to a data transformation. The first is building that foundation. And by that I mean establishing the frameworks and the ways of working. And the second, which I believe is extremely crucial, is the adoption of that execution framework, which you could refer to as that data operating model for the whole organization. So today, what I will share specifically is in three areas that I found to be very crucial to achieve success. The first is value creation, the second is change management and communication, and finally, the upskilling and data literacy. And I was really pleased to hear in the former panel discussion that all three of these topics actually came up. So I'm really looking forward to having some discussions with you all. So to get us started, Sabina, I thought we could run a poll, and I'll put up the first question, and I hope maybe you could help guide me with the results of that poll. And the question is, how many years into a data transformation do you expect to be able to create and track value? And I think most of you would agree that it is a main driver behind many data transformations. So Sabina, over to you.
Okay, let's see if we can get the poll. So how many years in your data transformation do you expect to be able to create and track value? It's a multiple choice question. Year 1, year 2 to 3, year 3 to 5, or year 5 plus. So if we can see here, well, it seems, Sonia, overweighing, we have at least 40% of year 2 and 3. It's transitioning a bit, but I would say year 2 and 3 is dominant. And then it's on the same level, year 1 and year 3 and 5, and then only 10% around year 5 plus. So I would say year 2 and 3 is a dominant answer.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. And given all the technology and given also all the investments the company is doing, what I will discuss today is how important it is to really track value already from year 1 and also into 2 and 3. I mean, of course, you need to be able to track value and see what value you've brought after 3 and beyond 5 years. It's just that you can, with the potential of data, start to see what value and impact it's really bringing for your organization from that very get-go. So coming back then, one of the biggest challenges that many organizations face when starting out on their journey to becoming data-driven is answering that question of, where do I start? I mean, where do you really start? As a global organization, I can tell you we faced a sea of data before us, and we asked ourselves questions like, what data should we prioritize? Which data was the most important to us? Which would create the most value for us or our customers? And again, I'm sure you probably recognize some of these, if not all of these questions. And we didn't assume that we knew all the answers to these questions. Instead, our approach was to turn to the business. So essentially, we asked the business to prioritize their data based on their needs and their individual data strategies. And based on their business priorities and their strategic goals, we looked at use case data pain points that needed to be addressed. So in a nutshell, it's the business itself that determines the order in which data should be taken, not only under governance according to the operating model, but should be prioritized for the business. The operating model, by the way, provides that framework for implementing the data strategy across an organization. And anyone within the organization that encounters any type of pain point when it comes to data should really feel empowered to submit that pain point. The submission should then be assessed in line with the business priorities and ensure that the change that it seeks to effect will create value for the organization, which is another way of making that transformation journey more tangible and more relevant to the whole organization, because what you're doing is you're democratizing the possibility for people to actively contribute to this. And in this journey to being truly data-driven organization, the ultimate goal is not only to govern all the data you could possibly govern, it is also to govern any data that can also bring value to your customers, your organization, in an order, again, that's determined by the business. So you can create and track results in terms of operational efficiency or productivity, but take into account that metrics that you may use will differ from organization to organization. And my takeaway and my perspective in this is really consider the question of creating and measuring value from the very start of your initiative. Doing so will make it so much easier when you communicate the why that I referred to at the start, and also to motivate people to really be part of this journey. And always ask yourself, is this something that you recognize in your organization even today? The importance of being able to answer the why in that compelling way. So before we move over to the next topic, I want to just ask one more question about an introductory question. So back to you, Sabina. I'd love to understand, where does the audience experience or envision their greatest change management challenge related to data transformation?
Very interesting question. So let's get the poll up in your Twebcast browser. The question is, where do you experience or envision the greatest change management challenges related to data transformation? And you can select two areas. One is strategy and vision, ways of working, talent as in skills and experience, employee awareness and understanding, governance, or technology and tooling. So let's see. Looking at this, Sonia, I would say first place, it's employee awareness and understanding, which of course is crucial. Mm-hmm. Then we have ways of working, which sort of ties into, I would say, employee awareness and understanding. And then it's governance, technology and tooling, and then we have strategy and vision. Wow. And last but not least, talent. Wow. What's your take on this?
Okay. My take is that no answer is wrong. Every organization is in a different stage of their data and digital transformation. And this probably resonates true for each of you who've answered in this way. I know that what I've personally experienced is having that strategy and vision in place was perhaps very early on in the journey, one of the key priorities. But once that fell into place as well, then other areas became more prominent or prioritized. So there are no wrong answers here. It's just depends on your organization and the maturity that your organization is in that. So thank you everyone for answering those. And let's have a look at some of the takeaways I'd like to share. So I started by saying that data transformation is really a journey. It's not a destination. And that's because it really does evolve change from one state to another. So what is your wanted position? What are the new capabilities that are required, for example? These are questions that you might want to ask yourself. And you need to keep in mind that that state will, again, it'll change over time. So the role of change management in the enablement context, of course, touches on so many of these parameters. It does touch on everything we looked at: people, process, knowledge, governance, and ways of working. So as with the first question of which data to prioritize first that I referred to, it can seem like a major challenge at first. And so in a brief overview of my experience and learnings, I want to talk a little bit about what I've taken away. The first thing was from the very start, work with communicating why you want to be a data-driven organization. And to do this, I know that I took the actions across the organization to create awareness of what we're doing, and more importantly, again, communicating that why. You need to clearly articulate the vision. And it's important that people understand this vision and that they're able to re-articulate it as well. So we invested in time to speak directly with people to make sure that they were obtained and they were onboarded on the what and the why. And these people, they're everyone from your leadership team, your executives, all the way to the people that are the practitioners working. So it's important not to miss anyone along the way. A direct benefit of this investment is not only that they were clear on the vision and the mission that you're on board to, but they could also become ambassadors for the project and spread that right mindset throughout the organization. And that's really important to have from the start. Looking at the next area, the next challenge from a communication and change management perspective was to inform the wider audience of what we were doing again, the why. But for a larger organization, you really need to think about how can you produce that scalable and effective communication that engages employees and demonstrates the value of the transformation for them at their, with respect to what they do as well. And so what we did was we proactively produced very visual short videos that explained why we're on this journey, why we have a data strategy, how do we roll it out by implementing our data operating model, and how anyone in the organization can contribute by submitting their use cases and pain points. I also illustrated how a data strategy, it really should not be some abstract centralized document that lives in a folder. It actively should drive the progressive change towards your wanted position. And by doing this, we created tangible understandings of the value of what high quality data is for every part of the business. And finally, when it comes to this area, rolling out a data-driven transformation in a large organization, it is a serious undertaking. And you ask yourself things like, okay, what staff do we need to bring in? And what talent can we use from within our own company? In this respect, I would say that many companies are extremely fortunate. You already have a wealth of talent who know and understand your data. Your people have already worked with it for years. And so, at least in terms of staffing and change management process, by making the most of the talent that you already have would be one of my highest recommendations. And you'll find that these practitioners, they're spread throughout your organization, where often I found a federated data operating model is a good fit because you can get more people on board. Because it means that essentially those people who sit closest to the data within your organization should be responsible for managing it. And you can also support staff working on the data transformations because you'll provide training programs for them, and you can effectively manage their new responsibilities. Which brings me to my last point, one of my favorite areas as well, which is the upskilling and the data literacy. So back to you, Sabina. It's my last poll question, but I'd really be interested to hear from the audience. How many of you believe that you actually have the knowledge and the skills within your organization to realize your data transformation?
Also a really interesting and relevant question, and it's going to be interesting to see the answer. So as Sonia said, how many of you believe that you have the knowledge and skills in your organization to realize your data transformation? A, yes, I feel we have the knowledge and skills. B, no, I feel we don't have knowledge and skills. Or C, well, I'm not actually sure. Well, at least positive. We've got sort of an equal on, yes, I feel we have the knowledge and skills. That's positive. And then weighing on the other side is, no, I feel we don't have the knowledge. So it seems to be, 50-50. What's your take on that, Sonia? Surprised?
My take is I've done this poll. Not really. I've done this poll quite a few times, and I hear quite often, and also when I'm in other forums with companies as well, that no, they don't believe they have that, but you'd be surprised by the talent you have within your organization and what you can do with upskilling. And that's something I want to talk about a little bit more. And that's not to say you might not need to bring in some talent from the outside and then combine that, in-house knowledge that your people have with some of that external knowledge that you bring into the company. But again, you would be really surprised with what your people are capable in a data transformation. So let's move on and look at how are you preparing to make this the most of your data transformation should be a question you should ask yourself. And I think it's an interesting question. It's what skills do you actually need both now but further down the line? This is a question that I think many people should ask themselves that not only are at the start of a data journey, but also part of that journey. And you should ask yourself, how can you leverage new capabilities and what are those capabilities that you need? So if we were to become a truly data-driven company and make the most of what that actually implies, what we all know we need is widespread advanced data literacy to understand the potential of that data. And I also believe that in a data-driven organization, people need to have data-related career paths open to them. So that's also really important as a company to make that available. In terms of building data literacy, it's important to have a strategy where you not only focus on the needs of those data practitioners, but you also have to be able to provide that training and the data literacy for the entire organization. It is a language and that you want, a culture that you want your whole company to start adopting. And specifically for practitioners, you should focus on upskilling them with capabilities that they require to be able to do their work. And this is new work, new skills as well. Offering them training programs on new processes, new ways of working, as well as the technologies that they need, such as data management tools that could best support them to scale and make that work easier. Then if you think about that broader organization, you can roll out different types of introductory courses. You could even cover courses as simple as what's a data strategy? Why is it important? What's data quality, data culture, and so on. So help your organization as a whole, whether they're working hands-on with the transformation or not, to really understand that taxonomy that you use and the language of data and build that general awareness of the culture and the mindset around data and why it's important as you move forward. And beyond investing in training and upskilling opportunities, the ambition is to enable your talent to apply for formal as well as project-based assignments via internal job markets so that they can gain data-related experience. Again, this is a really fantastic opportunity for many companies to leverage their existing talent and give them more opportunities within the organization by trying out new skills. So what you can take also take the step of integrating training capabilities into the single data and AI academy. As what I've realized is that advanced technologies such as AI and ML, for example, they both rely on having this high quality data as a foundation that's easy to find, use, and trust. And that an interest, for example, that someone might have in data management could also lead to an interest later further down the line in AI. And so actively offer both trainings and correspondings in career opportunities within data and related areas to make sure that the in-house skills of becoming data-driven are essentially there for your company. So I just want to conclude. So there are many technical aspects of a transformation journey, but the 3 areas that I've touched upon today, in my experience at least, have really helped start and maintain that data journey that with a clear momentum. So again, reiterating, demonstrate and quantify the real benefits and value of the project as soon as you can, and communicate them. Again, it's a great way to get that buy-in and make sure that what you're doing is relevant for that whole organization. Next, communicate the change management. It's a crucial in securing that awareness, and awareness is essential to getting your buy-in. And finally, invest in your organization's ability to contribute and benefit from this change. As the capabilities of your organization develop, you enable people to make the most of those new possibilities and contribute, which is the key there. So with that, I do want to thank everyone for listening, and I hope that there were some points that resonated with you, and I just want to open up for any questions. So Sabina, over back to you.
Thank you so much, Sonia. And I'm sure that there are quite a lot of insights, tools, and hopefully reflections that have come to our viewers, because that was really very explanatory on how to sort of increase not only the awareness, but the knowledge and the implementation of data. Unfortunately, we're running a bit over time, but we do have some good questions. But could we do like this? If we put the question in the chat, Sonia, maybe we can get you into the chat and you can answer it for our viewers in their Twebcast broadcast. Would that be doable? We'll hook
fine.
you up into it. And thank you so much for conveying all of your knowledge and for joining us from Australia.
Thank you.